Dave Prowse. Welcome to the TF.N Digital Show, and may the Force be with you.
Welcome to TF.N Digital. I'm Hetty and Park. Everybody's been talking about the Phantom edit. Who's seen it? Who did it? What's it like? What scenes are cut? Well, I guess it's safe to say there's nothing like getting the real thing. Our long wait is finally over. Lucasfilm announced in June that Star Wars Episode I, The Phantom Menace, the first ever Star Wars film on DVD, will be released on October 16th. According to the press release, the DVD features a 2-disc set with 6 hours of additional material, including 7 deleted scenes that had their visual effects work completed just for this release. Reserve your copy now. Happy birthday, Captain Solo, Dr. Jones. July 13th marked the legendary actor's 59th birthday. Harrison was in the press earlier that week for helping to rescue a scout in his native Wyoming home. Amidst all the talk about a 4th installment in the Indiana Jones saga moving forward, our spies noticed George Lucas visiting his friend and collaborator, Steven Spielberg, on the 20th Century Fox backlot set of his latest film, Minority Report. One only knows what was talked about. Now let's go to Alina Karen's very special interview with the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader, David Prowse.
This is Alina Karens, and I am here at the Big Apple Comics Convention here in New York City, and sitting with me here is David Prowse, Darth Vader. Such an honor. Well, how does a person that looks as sweet as you do end up playing such an evil, evil villain like Darth Vader?
The problem when you work in show business is it's very, very easy to get typecast. You're automatically cast as a villain. They never ever think of you as anything else. I would love to have done James Bond, and there's no reason at all why somebody like me shouldn't have played James Bond. But I think they start thinking, well, of course, you're 6'7", and who are we going to play opposite you and things like this. And you're going to make everybody else on the set look small and things like this. Whereas if you go into specifically to play villains parts, you are there to make everybody look small and insignificant.
So is that how you got this part? Were they looking for a tall actor?
No, on Star Wars, it was a result of a film I did about 5 years previously. In 1971, I was in Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange, and I played the part of Julian, who was sort of like a bodyguard come heavy. No makeup, no bad makeup or anything like this, but I was just playing a sort of heavy type role. And Lucas remembered it. Lucas remembered it for 5 years, and then came over to England in 1976, casting for Star Wars. And I said, look, I'm doing this film. I'd like to offer you one of 2 parts. And I thought, wow, this is nice. I'm not even being asked to act or read or do anything like this, And I said, what are the parts? And he said, well, the first one's a character called Chewbacca. And I said, what's that? And he said, well, it's like a hairy gorilla that goes through the film on the side of the goodies. And I thought, oh no, I really don't want to play any more masked parts. I've had enough. I really was trying to get away from it. So I said, well, what's the other part? And he said, well, the other one's the big villain of the film, a character called Darth Vader. And I said, oh, don't say any more, George, I'll have the villain's part, thank you very much. And it wasn't until like a couple of weeks later that I went to the theatrical costumiers and suddenly found out that Darth Vader was another masked role, but by then I'd read the script and realised how good a part it was.
So what did you think of the costume?
Well, the costume went on in 15 pieces. It was all made from quilted leather and fiberglass and all this. And it was quite comfortable, actually. I mean, until you came to put the helmet and the mask on. And what happened originally, when the mask was made, Lucas, the first time we put it on, Lucas said to me, he said, no, just move your head from left to right. Let's see how it moves, you see. So I sort of did this. And the mask still stayed facing forwards. And it was made obviously miles too big, you see. So they said, well, we don't want to make another mask. We're going to pad the entire mask out with foam rubber. So they padded it all up with foam rubber, and it fitted very, very sort of flush. And then that was the problem, is you then sweated buckets, absolutely sweated buckets in it.
So how did George Lucas explain the character to you when you got on the set?
Never spoke one word to me about Darth Vader. I went away, I read the script, and decided how I wanted to play him. And the first thing I did was I decided I wanted to make everybody subservient to me. And I thought that this I can do by getting the walk right. I always remember I sort of stormed out and walked up this corridor. And when we got to the end of it, George came up to me and said, "Davey, I'm sorry, but you've got to slow down." He said, "We can't keep up with you." And the poor old general beside me was puffing and blowing like mad, you know.
So in the movie, James Earl Jones does the voice for Darth Vader. So, I mean, did you have to memorize the lines anyway? How did that work?
Yeah, I had to learn all the lines, you know, because all the other actors have to work, you know, with you.
I know you were recently very ill. What was the fan reaction to that?
Well, that's been terrific. I mean, the response. What happened was I got the flu. That's what I thought I had. The doctor said, "I'm sorry, but I'm going to hospitalise you straight away." And I said, "What's wrong?" And he said, "Well, I think you've got something quite serious." And it turns out they thought I had what they call septic arthritis, and it was like an infection in the blood which was travelling around your system. And it wasn't until they did an MRI scan and found that I had an abscess at the base of my spine, which was actually eating into the disc and to the two bottom vertebrae. And so they gave me loads and loads of antibiotics, and they aspirated the abscess, and now hopefully I'm on the road to recovery.
Well, you weren't in episode 1, and you're not going to be in episode 2, but your character is.
Keep our fingers crossed for episode 3, yeah.
But I was going to ask you, you don't know yet?
Oh, you don't know? He's definitely going to be in episode 3. Oh, yeah. But I don't know if it's going to be me, no, because I mean, you know, I've got these health problems that I've got to get over. But I mean, it's 3 years' time, so I mean, I'm hoping that I'm going to be as bright as rain.
What's it like watching the history of your character? Is it a little bit like looking at baby pictures?
Well, it's nice actually because I met up with Jake Lloyd. I did a show with Jake Lloyd for Disney, and he's a nice kid, very much like I was when I was a kid actually. I don't know what this next guy is going to be like. I've never seen him before, so it's going to be interesting when that comes out, because I've no doubt I'll be asked to do appearances alongside him as well. I just hope is that they keep the quality of the movies up to the standard of the first 3. I didn't feel I enjoyed. It took me four viewings to really appreciate Phantom Menace. I didn't like it at all the first time. I didn't like it the second time. I thought it was a bit better the third time. And then on the 4th time I saw it out in Japan, and I thought what a terrific movie it was. I really did. I really enjoyed it.
What'd you think about Jar Jar Binks?
I could have screwed his neck. I really could have screwed his neck, honestly. I hated him. I hated him with a vengeance. I still do. Yeah.
I know you're not sure about episode 3 yet, but you are working on other projects. We were talking about it earlier. What are you working on now?
Well, I'm doing several things. I've just written a book, and I'm one of the reasons I'm here in New York this weekend is to see my literary agent. And she's very hopeful of getting the book placed with a big publisher for world rights, because it's an autobiographical type book, but it's like a quarter of the book is all about my association with the Star Wars movies. At the same time, I've now got a French television company who wants to do a documentary about my life, and the documentary is going to be called Nearly Famous, and it's all about the ups and downs of my career, you know, about how I've done things like Star Wars, for instance, should have got me really famous and didn't quite. And it's all sorts of things like that all the way through my career. And now I've come to this weekend in New York. I'm doing some filming for a pilot for a new comic book series. And
fans can check out your website to find out what you're doing.
And of course, I'm doing the 3 big conventions I'm doing Atlanta and I'm doing Chicago. I don't know yet whether I'm doing San Diego. I'd like to do San Diego, and then later in the year I'm coming back to New York to do the New York show here, and I got another big one in Germany in later in the year as well. So it's quite a lot of work.
So you got a lot going on, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thank you so much.
Nice to see you. Thanks.
Special thanks go to David Prowse for giving us his time and access. We're all very happy to see him back on tour. And additional thanks go to Chris and Big Apple Conventions. This is our exclusive spoiler review and news section, so if you see the screen turn red and don't want to hear any spoilers, stop the video now. Exclusive spoiler news. Remember when Yoda raised the X-Wing out of the swamp in Empire? Do you remember the reports about Episode 2 showing why Yoda is the Jedi Master? Well, now we know why. After Count Dooku flees to his ship.
You know, Count Dooku is really Count Doku.
Yoda closes his eyes and concentrates. Anakin is lying unconscious as Obi-Wan tries to escape from under the crane. The fallen crane rattles and trembles. Suddenly it starts to lift. Behind the crane, the sound of Count Dooku's sail ship's engines are heard starting up. Yoda focuses. Slowly, the crane rises. The sound of the engines increases. Yoda puts every ounce of energy he has into the crane. The crane lifts clear of Anakin and is thrown to the ground. Dooku's sail ship takes off. Obi-Wan and Anakin struggle to the exhausted Yoda, but it's too late. The sail ship escapes. Special thanks to our master spy Joshua Griffin for that report. Select pictures by the number. Number 47 features a long-distance shot of Anakin on his speeder bike zooming across the Tatooine desert heading toward a rocky natural bridge in the background. Maybe this jives with what we've reported earlier about Anakin going off to find his mother Shmi after she's kidnapped by the Tusken Raiders. 48. This is a staircase in the Naboo Palace, possibly featuring the new queen and a Naboo politician. 49 features the Lars homestead. If you zoom in, you can see a chair that could be Klieg's repulsor chair. 50 features Jedi Master Supreme Mace Windu in action against a blue screen. This is likely a shot from the Jango Fett versus Mace Windu battle in the arena on Geonosis. Notice his lightsaber is missing. Is he calling it to him? Is he preparing to dodge the reek? 51 features crazy headpieces, possibly from the nightclub on Coruscant. 52 features Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman, and Ewan McGregor doing some blue screen work, holding onto a large chain. All three of them are ties on the reek. You can see the chain that Anakin is holding and the metal band around his wrist. 53 features Anakin resting against another Jedi's leg, staring into space. The Jedi's leg in question is most likely Obi-Wan. And that's it for this edition of TF.N Digital. I'm Hetty and Park, and we'll see you again soon with some surprise interviews, spoilers, and reviews.
Well, I know you're feeling...
You like Jar Jar Binks?
I'm not allowed to answer that question.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
I don't tell anyone. I ask it, but I don't answer it.